can crystallize into a championship ring in winter. For two of the NFL's best quarterbacks, it's the realization that time is running short for a return to the Super Bowl. The Raiders and Broncos have been fierce rivals since the days of the old American Football League. But in 1993, under the watchful eye of Al Davis, the Raiders dominated, sweeping all three meetings. Jeff Hostetler hit a variety of talented receivers in the wild card playoff game, eliminating Denver from postseason play 42-24. So this season, the Broncos have made changes and have given John Elway some new targets. Sure-handed Mike Pritchard and swift Anthony Miller. Denver is taking a page from the Raiders, who have a rocket, a jet, and an all-round threat in their aerial arsenal. But Los Angeles too had needs, and the strong legs of Tom Rathman and Harvey Williams should bolster the running attack. A foundation for the season is being built for John Elway and for Jeff Hostetler. The drive to the Super Bowl begins now. Olympic Stadium, overlooking the sun-drenched Mediterranean coast in Barcelona, Spain. It was here 2 years ago that archer Antonio Rebollo thrilled the world with this dramatic ignition of the Olympic flame. Today, Olympic Stadium is buzzing once again, but for a different sort of event. One with a lined field, strange posts at the ends, and players in modern-day suits of armor. From Barcelona, Spain, it's NFL football, an American Bowl preseason game matching the Los Angeles Raiders and the Denver Broncos. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Olympic Stadium, a place that holds so many memories for those of us that were here 2 years ago. Tom Hammond with former 49er Randy Cross ready to bring you today's game. Randy will get an early look at a couple of teams that have been predicted to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, two teams that have proved themselves in the offseason. Denver, of course, acquired Miller and Pritchard, the wide receivers. What else do they do to help themselves?
Well, they got John Elway the help he really needs, and that's on defense. They went to the free agent market and got two cornerbacks. From Philadelphia, Ben Smith, a corner who is physical and fast and likes the bump and run. And from Detroit, they brought in Ray Crockett, another cornerback who likes to get in a receiver's face and doesn't mind running with the fast ones.
And the Raiders paid most of their attention to the running game.
Well, they certainly did, and they brought in a big help. And I say big help, I mean big help. And Kevin Gogan from the Dallas Cowboys. He's big, he's physical, and he's got that nasty Raider attitude. And a long shot, a guy I really like is from Nebraska, the rookie Calvin Jones. And what a shock, the Raiders drafted this guy, and he is fast.
We'll be seeing many of the young players today, of course. We'll also see the debut of some NFL rule changes, including one right off the opening kickoff. For more on that, let's go to John Dockery.
Thank you, Tom. Two big rule changes in the NFL this season. One, the two-point conversion. The other has to do with the kickoff. The ball is moved back from the 35-yard line to the 30, and it will be closer to the ground because the tee is no longer 3 inches high, but only an inch off the ground. And that should make for a lower trajectory on the ball, less touchbacks, more returns, and better field position for the offense. What I look for is some high-octane action in the kickoff, especially with return men like these two teams have. Tom?
All right, John, and another rule change we appreciate, the inclusion of sideline reporters in the NFL this season, and pleased to have the Dean of Sideline Reporters, John Dockery, with us in Barcelona. The Raiders have won the toss and will receive. Jason Elam set to kick off for the Broncos. Rocket Ishmael is awaiting the kick along with Harvey Williams. And Elam kicking from the 30 with a new rule change, sends it to Williams at about the 7-yard line. Harvey Williams, new addition, upset at the 24-yard line where the Raiders will put it in play after a 17-yard return. So Jeff Hostetler, who last season became the 3rd Raider quarterback to pass for over 3,000 yards, leads his offense onto the field. He shoots for some of the game's best receivers. As you look at the offensive line of Perry, Wisniewski, Mosbar, Gogan, and Wilkerson. Gogan, the one to watch, the new right guard coming from the champion Cowboys. Jett led the NFL last season in yards per catch, 23 per catch. Brown has been to the Pro Bowl 3 times as a returner and receiver. Play action pass. Hostetler goes up top, and wide open is Jett. He waits for the ball, and now you can forget it. You can't catch a Jett with a turboprop. 76 yards.
Well, take a look at this. Right off the bat, it's the Al Davis game working against Ray Crockett, gets lost in the wash, and this is vertical. Al likes to say, let's get vertical, and right off the get-go. A lot of teams take the big shots, but not many have this kind of speed.
So James Jett welcomes Ray Crockett to the AFC.
And this is a quarterback with an offensive lineman's mentality. He's as tough as any guy I've seen at that position.
One pass, one 76-yard touchdown. Hostetler to Jett. And it looks like the Raiders will go for the 2-point conversion first for either team this season.
That's a great idea, Tom, really, because teams to do this in the preseason gives their opponents in the regular season at the beginning of the year a lot to work on and just gives them stuff in the book. Normally in regular season, they're not going to do it, but preseason, it's great to practice.
So 2-point conversion. Hostetler will throw for it to Montgomery, and Tyrone Montgomery for the 2-point conversion. Hostetler 2 for 2, and the Raiders take a quick 8-0 lead off the opening kickoff. 1 play and 1 conversion. The quick strike attack of James Jett and the Raiders very much in evidence here in Barcelona.
And Hostetler.
Okay, that's great.
What do you say besides wow?
You guys will have to change these normally now. And flip them when they change offense to defense. I bet you Elway tries Miller once. Football player awaited the baton on the U.S. anchor leg.
James Jett. Here's Jett now on the straightaway. He's got some ground to make up. The Cuban team leads. Cuba is in front. Now Jett passes the Japanese team.
In the final, Jett gave way to Carl Lewis, who produced this unforgettable moment.
And Lewis sets off down the stretch with the lead. Carl Lewis in his final Olympic Games, blazing to the finish.
Nothing better than to score a touchdown in this preseason game at the Olympic Stadium, and he did so. The Raiders scored 8 points in 20 seconds. Jeff Jager to kick it off for the Raiders. And again, the kick from the 30-yard line. Milburn finds a seam. Glenn Milburn down the sideline. And ridden down at the 40-yard line of the Raiders. Great return for the Broncos. Finally tripped up by James Trapp after a 49-yard return. So John Elway now will try to match the Raiders' output. He comes off his best season. He led the AFC in 6 quarterback stats. Performer Anthony Miller giving a deep threat to the Broncos. Let's see if Elway looks for him as the Raiders look deep. Nope, they'll give it to Bernstein. Gets a block on the corner, finds a hole, and is across inside the 35 to the 34-yard line, where he's tackled by Chester McLaughlin. Here's the Raider defense. Scott Davis starts up front, returning to the game after a 2-year absence. Smith led the team in sacks last season, and Moss was the top tackler. In the secondary, McDaniel's been to the Pro Bowl the last 2 years. And Washington has 30 career interceptions. Second down for the Broncos on their initial possession of the game. Raiders scored on the first play from scrimmage. Bernstein, the lone setback. Elway will put it up for the first time and drills it complete on one knee. The catch made by the tight end, Reggie Johnson, one of the two tight ends starting. Derek Hoskins had him wrapped up, but Johnson was able to hang on.
You got to say that Reggie Johnson is the real tight end here in the Denver Broncos offense. Shannon Sharp's more of a heavy wide receiver. Johnson brings that catching ability that they think will surprise a lot of people, but his main role in this offense is to block.
There are the numbers on Reggie Johnson from a season ago. First down for Denver. Ball just short of the Raider 25-yard line. Elway hands to Bernstein, who spins away from one man, then is tackled after a gain of 1 by Nolan Harrison and James Folston. Folston, the second-round draft choice for the Raiders out of Northeast Louisiana.
This is not a real physical Denver line. They rely on trap blocking, much like a San Francisco offensive line, and if you get penetration, you disrupt those blocking patterns, and that's exactly what happened there with Nolan Harrison coming straight upfield.
And Folston now comes out, the 1AA All-American from Northeast Louisiana. Second and long for Elway. Russell in motion. Elway got rid of it, just barely. Into the flat where Glenn Milburn is wrapped up, and Elway took a shot as well as he felt the pressure from Chester McLaughlin.
Tom, what you got to look at the end of this play is there's a long list of one quarterback that can make this throw even out in the flat with a guy like Chester McLaughlin and the rest of the Raiders hanging on him. John Elway's got an unbelievably strong arm. He's going down and he still flicks it out there about 25 yards.
And did you see McLaughlin after the play had a seat on Elway's back?
Only because he could.
Mike Jones made the tackle on the play. It sets up a 3rd and 10 for Denver. Elway's in the shotgun. And he has Milburn. Milburn's inside the 20. He dragged down at about the 17-yard line. Mike Jones again caught him from behind. And it'll be close to the first down, but I believe just short.
You talk about the kicking rules, you know, when it comes to these field goals now, the ball, if a field goal is missed, is going to go to the spot where the ball was, not to the line of scrimmage. This one is from inside the 20, so it would come back to the 20 if it's missed. But I think it's going to be crucial later in the year when you're talking the long field goal in the big game. If the coach wants to give a potent offense like a Raiders offense or a Broncos offense field position.
35-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam. Elam sends it on its way, and it is good. So Elam connects from 35 yards, and the Broncos score off their first possession. It's 8-3 Raiders. Catalonia, Spain. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, an 8-3 game here in Barcelona with 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Raiders scored on the first play from scrimmage. Denver answered with a field goal. Rocket Ishmael with the return of Elam's kick. Players flying everywhere, and Ishmael down at the 25-yard line by Reggie Rivers. Someone went flying over the top.
And these fans here in Spain don't see a whole lot of American football. They see in the World League, but when people get airborne, doesn't matter where it is, it becomes an attraction. And here's Ishmael just blasting upfield. It's what he does best. Use that speed and go.
That was Anthony Lynn that went flying. Here's the angle from behind the Rocket.
And there's no good way to land here. You just sort of hope you pick the right part of your body to land on. That's a tough situation, but that's kind of an occupational hazard when you're covering kickoffs.
Be too many fights, they wouldn't be able to get anything done in practice. So they saved it all for the hitting in today's game. We'll be back to Barcelona in a moment. The Broncos 8-3. Hostetler throwing a 76-yard touchdown pass, but I'm sure James Jett is going to tell him, if that ball had been a little longer, I could have scored easier. Jett had to wait for the ball, which was hung up by Hostetler, but Jett was so wide open, he just galloped unimpeded into the end zone. This is the second play from scrimmage for the Raiders, and let's see if they try to work on that running game now. Everyone knows they've got the speed at the wideouts. Here's Montgomery. Tyrone Montgomery gets only a couple of yards before he's ridden out of bounds by Ben Smith. Here's the Denver starting defensive unit. Charlie Waters, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, rocked back on his heels by that 76-yard touchdown pass. 2nd and 8. Hostetler finds Tim Brown. Spins away for an extra yard, but is downed at the 33 by Elijah Alexander. There's a penalty marker down.
I think it's going to be a face mask. The only official had it is the far corner, but they yanked that mask right as he was going down.
Dick Hantak and a mixed crew making the trip to Barcelona for this American Bowl game.
There is no foul on the play. The flag is being picked up. 3rd down.
Well, Randy, give us your interpretation.
Tim Brown laughs about, hey, I'm a possession receiver, and he gets one in the possession receiver area, and that wasn't a long tug on that face mask, but that was a tug on the face mask.
So it'll be 3rd and 2 as Tim Brown, he was joking with us yesterday, he said he'd be the 4th alternate on a Raider relay team. That's how fast they are. He comes wide to the bottom of your screen. Darrell Hobbs into the game, 3 wide receivers. Napoleon McCallum is the only setback.
Let's go, 67! 67!
Hostetler with a long count.
67!
Actually, it's Montgomery in the backfield, and he gets to the 35, which would be enough for a 1st down. There's our first fight of the day. First of many, probably.
And Kevin Gogan's involved in it too.
He's the new guy. What's he doing in there?
Well, that's a prerequisite. You got to get a few notches on the side of your helmet with the Raiders.
You talk about filling out a uniform.
Not just his. He'll fill out the guy next to him and the guy across from him. There he is. I mean, a very personable guy, and as you can tell, that is a head shot, because when he puts that helmet on, there's not much room for a face mask.
He's out of the game because they spotted it just short of the 1st down. I thought he had enough, but apparently inches short. And the first punt of the game about to come off the foot of Jeff Gossett.
Good hands.
Milburn is deep as Gossett sails one to him at the 23-yard line. Milburn grabbed around the collar and spun down after a short return. 42-yard punt, only a 3-yard return, and John Elway returns for his 2nd series. That may be all he plays today. He was 3 for 3 the first time the Broncos had the ball, coming off his best career season. He's had some great ones, but in 1993, with Jim Fossil's new offense, Elway said he got back to being a quarterback again. He regained his mechanics. He didn't have to rely on the scrambling so much, and he had over 4,000 yards through the air.
And one of the things Jim Fossil's offense did for John Elway, it enabled him to get rid of the ball faster, and he took less hits. Very important for a 34-year-old quarterback.
Rivers and Milburn are the split backs on 1st down. Elway in the flat. Catch made and ridden out of bounds by Folston, the rookie linebacker, in on the action again. That was Bernstein with the catch.
Keep a good eye on Folston. He's a rookie like you mentioned, but he is a guy that can move. He's about 245 pounds, and he's been clocked in around the 4-5 area. So the Raiders have linebackers that can run with running backs, can hopefully jam wide receivers, and can definitely stuff runs.
55 Folston, career sack leader at Northeast Louisiana, from Cocoa, Florida. Elway ready for his 2nd and 9 play. His Broncos trailing 8-3. Raiders show blitz. Broncos pick it up. Elway fires a little short, but a diving catch made by Reggie Johnson. Mike Jones covered Johnson after he made the catch, but a good one. That's 2 receptions off a career high 20 receptions last season. Elway's hit all 5 of his passes thus far in the game. Bernstein gets a block. Rod Bernstein with a head of steam down the sideline, just tripped up at the last minute by Greg Bikert. Big Rod Bernstein at 240 pounds was really moving after a block on the corner from John Melander.
Well, watch Melander pulling out. Everybody blocks down, and right now there is no one out there. Bernstein's really looking to have a big 94, 800-plus yards last year. Got a foot injury and had to sit out part of the last end of the season, but he's a 1,000-yard rusher. And if John Elway can get a 1,000-yard rusher, it's scary to think what this offense can do.
17 yards before Beekert caught him from behind. Here's Albert Lewis making his first appearance in the secondary for the Raiders. The acquisition from Kansas City. Play whistled dead and the flag goes down.
Finally, it looks like a preseason game.
This will be the first offside call. I think that's what it is.
False start.
False start.
Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
To see him in the black and silver of the Raiders after so many years playing for the Chiefs. 11 years with Kansas City.
He's 33 years young, Tom. This is a very deceiving age on Lewis. Great condition.
Quick drop by Elway. Almost picked off. Eddie Anderson had it timed. He just couldn't hold on to the football.
Good anticipation by Anderson. He read that perfectly with that slant coming. And that's maybe half product of not concentrating and half product of John Elway throwing a bullet in there for his receiver. Watch Anderson break from the left side of the screen. He's right there, and he got a chest full of ball.
First pass Elway's missed, and it almost cost him 6 points. 5 of 6, 27 yards for John Elway. Second and long. Elway steps up, evaded 2 would-be tacklers, and launches it to Johnson, who caught it for a Bronco first down. Did he fumble the ball? The Raiders are running with it. It looked like they took it away. Is it whistled dead? Apparently not. That's Eddie Anderson. He brings it back to the 35-yard line. And again, it looks like a preseason game. We'll have to see the replay to see if he fumbled. I thought he was down, but apparently not. Reggie Johnson had it, couldn't hold on.
You get a big tight end like Reggie Johnson, he's pushing 260 pounds, makes a nice catch. Watch his back turn. And when the back turns, Terry McDaniel hits him from the back. Hoskins pulls the ball loose. And that's how Anderson comes up with it. It's a matter of concentration. It is the first preseason game. It's the first real live bullets these guys have seen, and they have to learn to concentrate when they feel the hit.
Rivers had a 30-yard catch for a first down, but Anderson picks up the fumble, brings it back 15 yards. The Raiders once again in business with Tyrone Montgomery. A knee touchdown, but he regained his balance and got a couple more yards to the 41, where Steve Atwater covered. Jeff Hostetler still in at quarterback for the Raiders. This is the 3rd series for Los Angeles.
And you mentioned it earlier. I'm sorry, Tom. You mentioned it earlier. Don't be surprised if you see these Raiders pounding the ball pretty good. It's a feature of their game they have got to work on. They've got to find out. Art Shell must find out who his man is with the ball.
It's Montgomery in motion to give McCallum. Napoleon McCallum bouncing off blockers and powers for an apparent first down to the 46-yard line, where he's tackled by Ben Smith.
This is an offensive line that has all pros, it has pro bowlers, and it has guys that they don't so much blast people off the ball on a consistent basis, but they sort of absorb them. You know, guys like Gogan hit them, and you can't get around a Gogan. The same with Wisniewski, who's going to smash you in the face, and most underrated left tackle in the league is probably Perry.
How big 66 Gogan is. You can see his size even there on the line. Hostetler sideline, flags flying as the pass incomplete. No one even close to it, as a matter of fact.
The reason no one was close, I think somebody on defense got a little tug.
On the sideline, the Denver backup, Tommy Maddox, warming up. He'll probably come in to replace Elway. Hand tack. Trying to sort things out. It's preseason for the officials too, you know.
When you're watching these wide receivers, be aware of that tugging and pulling, because a lot of these guys are playing very aggressive.
Illegal contact. Number 26, defense, decline. Offside, defense, 5 yards, repeat the down, first down.
Ben Smith's a cornerback who has had 2 knee operations and knows he must be physical. Bad year to do that right now, because these officials are calling the 5 yards tight. They were told, hey, you got a little loose to 7 and 8 yards. They're going to call it exactly at 5 yards.
So the Raiders will take over with a first down just across midfield. Hentak is trying to straighten out the time on the clock, apparently.
You can take that home with you.
Wait till him, second time around. First down play to Montgomery. Tyrone Montgomery diving for about a 5-yard gain, covered by Steve Atwater. Montgomery gained the starting spot in the latter part of last season, started the last 2 games, gained only 106 yards. Of course, he had 2 older brothers in the NFL, including
Wilbert, when he was in Philadelphia, Tom, was a workhorse. It was a classic case of work, and suddenly there was nothing left for Dick Vermeil and the Eagles.
Wilbert, a Pro Bowl running back for the Eagles. This one is whistled dead again. First quarter here in Barcelona, American Bowl preseason NFL football, with the Raiders leading the Broncos 8-3. Quarter with Vince Evans and Billy Joe Hobart splitting the rest of the time. And for the Broncos, John Elway's probably done. We'll see Tommy Maddox followed by Sean Moore in the third quarter.
There was an error in moving the chains. In the last set of penalties, the offside penalty was accepted, giving them a 5-yard penalty and replaying the down. It should have been 1st and 5. By error, the stakes were moved. We will now have 2nd and 1 yard.
Now there's a Hall of Famer having fun.
All right, so it is 2nd and 1. They've spotted the ball now just inside the Denver 45-yard line. Montgomery and McCallum behind Hostetler with Brown in motion. Montgomery gains about 3 for the first down with a late flag coming in.
That flag came in right in that area, Tom, where you get a wide receiver at the last minute trying to impress somebody with a block and hold him.
And you see Tim Brown arguing the call, so it apparently will be against the Raiders, the most penalized team in the NFL a season ago. Averaging 9.25 a game, 148 yards in penalties a game for the Raiders, against an NFL average of about 96.
And Tim Brown for an illegal crackback down below the waist.
Illegal crackback, defense. Offense, number 81, 15-yard penalty, repeat the down, 2nd down.
Tom, half the fans here would have believed him.
That's right.
One more time, you can't do that. Only people that can go down low like that, and now in rare instances, are the offensive linemen inside that tackle area.
There are those numbers on the penalties, with the Raiders just 1 short of the all-time record.
You know, they are the most penalized team, but that just adds to that us against the world mentality of the Raiders. They really take on everybody.
3 wides in this formation, Jet, Brown, and Hobbs, as McCallum goes out. Hostetler steps up. He's got room to run if he wants. He does. Tries to put on a couple of moves and gains about 5 yards. Elijah Alexander was having none of the juking by Jeff Hostetler.
Well, he was the number 2 rusher last.
The numbers, 202 yards. 3rd and 10 for the Raiders. Again, a 3 wide receiver formation. Time for Hostetler, but he overshoots Jet, his intended receiver, and another punting situation coming up for the Los Angeles Raiders.
One of the toughest things about the preseason is football is a game of not only momentum, but it's really timing and flow and feel. And when you get these penalties and the offsides and the clock problems and whatnot, there is no continuity and flow for an offense. It's hard to get anything going.
Jeff Gossett is on for his 2nd punt of the game, with Glenn Milburn deep for the Broncos. 19 inside the 20-yard line last season for Gossett, and there's the dangerous Milburn. Off the side of his foot, a low, bad-looking punt by Gossett, which will be marked out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. We'll return to Barcelona, where the Raiders lead Denver 8.
A very reliable backup.
Elway finishes the day 6 of 7 through the air for 55 yards. Most of the quarterbacks and coaches like the new transmitter system to the quarterbacks. They think not only will they send in the play, but just some tips that watch so-and-so on this play, tell you the substitution patterns of the defense, maybe what to expect. Reggie Rivers on the sweep gets short yardage before he is ridden out of bounds by Eddie Anderson and others.
You know, the biggest challenge really for Tommy Maddox this preseason and probably the rest of his career, if he spends it here in Denver, is just trying to remind himself and at all times that I'm not John Elway. I don't have to be John Elway. I don't throw like John Elway. I'm Tommy Maddox, and I think he understands that, but right now it seems he's trying to sell that idea to more people than not, and isn't completely convinced.
Been some trade rumors swirling around Maddox, but Jim Fossey saying he was under no orders to play or showcase or make an early decision on the status of Tommy Maddox. Here's his first pass, and it's on time. Pass complete to Mike Pritchard, who takes it for a Denver first down. It covers 13 yards, tackled by Derek Hoskins.
You know, Mike Pritchard's been in that Atlanta, they call it the red gun offense, and it's an offense that specializes in getting receivers into open areas. This is a former running back out of the University of Colorado, and it's a guy that's got very, very good chemistry with Tommy Maddox. It's a style of receiver, a style of offense that Tommy Maddox is used to. Look for him to go a lot to Mike Pritchard.
First down, Broncos. They trail by 8-3 with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter from Barcelona. Bernstein tackled, penetration in the backfield by Anthony Smith, who led the Raiders in sacks last season with 12.5, and really got good penetration that time.
Another example of that pulling type offense where you're going to have a block down, and the problem there is Melander's trying to pull and nobody's blocking down on Anthony Smith, and he doesn't look like a blocker, he looks like a nuisance, and Smith just kind of pushes him out of the way.
He shed Melander in a hurry. It's 2nd and 10. 2nd and 16, excuse me, for the Broncos. Maddox across the middle and complete. Catch made by Derek Russell. Short gain on the play, however. Winston Moss and Mike Jones were ready for the crossing pattern from Russell. And telling us that the decision to come out early was the best one he ever made, that he has learned considerably, of course, at the foot of one of the greats, John Elway. From the shotgun, Maddox with plenty of time. Overshoots Glenn Milburn, the intended receiver, with Mike Jones step for step with Milburn. First miss by Maddox.
This is a Raider team that comes into this game and any game they play with the Denver Broncos with a lot of confidence. Art Shell is 9-1 in his career against the Broncos, and they really feel they have a great matchup with the Broncos, whether it's their first team, their second team, their third team, whoever. They have a lot of confidence because they know they are a very physical team with speed that gives a team like the Broncos trouble.
Tom Ruin to punt for the Broncos with the Rocket Ishmael deep. Just 10 seconds now left in the opening quarter. Rocket got by one man with the help of a block and then is nudged out of bounds at the 35-yard line, where the Raiders will take over. Just 3 seconds left in the first quarter. That was a 43-yard Ruin punt, and the Rocket brought it back 9 yards. Vince Evans apparently will come in at quarterback for the Raiders. Scheduled to see action through the second quarter for Art Shell today. Hostetler finished 2 of 3, 83 yards and a touchdown, the 76-yarder to James Jett on the first play of the game.
Vince Evans is another one of those veterans, kind of like we talked about with Albert Lewis. He keeps himself in great shape, and when talking to Al Davis, he keeps Vince Evans around because he's a great influence and because he has a very good deep arm.
3 seconds left in the first quarter. Evans hands to Harvey Williams. That's his first carry, and he slips down for no gain as the first quarter comes to an end. So at the end of the first quarter in Barcelona, American Bowl football with the Los Angeles Raiders leading the Denver Broncos 8-3. Including some great ones, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Randall Cunningham, and a couple of the rookies from a season ago who played well at quarterback, Bledsoe and Meyer. So puck, pass, and kick sign-up time.
Did you do that when you were a kid?
Yes, I did.
I loved it. That's back when I had an arm. Too many shot puts and too many blocks. My punt wasn't too good, actually. We're all on.
Ready to start the second quarter with Vince Evans at quarterback for the Raiders. And he passes the ball to a wide-open Tom Rathman, making his appearance in the backfield. In fact, the Raiders have Rathman and Williams, the new guys, in the backfield in the game now.
And that's one of the things Rathman does real well is everybody knows he's a good blocker, but after being in San Francisco for those 8 years, he can really catch the ball out of the backfield, and something, an addition to the offense that I think Al Davis really enjoys.
You played with him in San Francisco. What's Rathman like?
He's a throwback. You know, you see Tom Rathman without his helmet on. He's got the eye black under his eyes. He's got the flat top, and that's not fake. That's Tom. He's from Nebraska, and he's proud of it.
He got him 5 yards on that first down run. 3 wide receiver formation. Evans with a short toss and complete. Catch made by the Rocket.
Just to give a little perspective to this, Tom, this is my 6th year in the broadcasting business, and I played against Vince Evans. He was a quarterback for USC when I was at UCLA. Get a look at some of the gentlemen he came out of the draft with. Not a lot of big names. Vince Ferragamo played in the Super Bowl with the Rams, but Vince has not only outshone most of those guys, he's definitely outlasted most everybody.
He's the only one left in his 15th season, 39-year-old Vince Evans.
Hey, you talk about the 75th anniversary of this league, Tom, this year. I mean, he's been around for about 20% of that.
Gossett ready to kick to Milburn on 4th and 2. Sailing punt taken by Milburn at the 19. Milburn pulled his foot away from one man, puts on a couple of moves, and a pretty nice return to the 36-yard line where Sebastian Savage gets him out of bounds. An 18-yard return after Gossett had punted 41. So Maddox back on for his second series of downs. Maddox, all Pac-10 performer at UCLA. Only Bruin quarterback to ever throw for 350 yards twice in a game. Prep All-American out of Hurst, Texas. He said as he approached his college career, he wanted to play at a Texas school, but all the Texas teams were either running the wishbone or on probation. About that time, Troy Aikman out of UCLA got to the Dallas Cowboys, so presto, he wound up in Los Angeles. Reggie Rivers bounces to the outside, lowers his head, and will have a 9 or 10-yard gain before Patrick Bates is able to trip him up.
Now here's what happens with the Denver Broncos blocking scheme when it works right. Watch the pull coming from the backside. Right there, Scrafford, nice job coming from that left guard spot. And Rivers steps through, and when that works right, you saw that gap, that separation area. That's when the line's been trapped and the linebackers have been blocked in.
Well, because of injuries in the offensive line, most of the regulars will have to go the entire game today. They only have 8 healthy bodies up there. Tommy Maddox is probably secretly happy about that.
Tommy Maddox and the running backs for the Denver Broncos. But when you're talking about offensive linemen, the most important offensive lineman Denver has is Keith Karts. He's been their center for a good while now, and he's the guy that runs that offensive line. And I don't care who,
where he set 35 school records, gained 1,800 yards rushing as a senior. He's number 43 in the backfield. And here he is again. Pretty nice cutback. Derek Clark, all 235 pounds, lowers his shoulder and picks up a Bronco first down. Brian Jones made the tackle for the Raiders, but not until the rookie Clark had a good game.
And what he shows right here is his ability to have the patience, watch everything go away. He gets the ball, he waits, and then he sees that whole backside. That wasn't a hole, that was the whole defense moving in the wrong direction. It was good patience and a nice job.
So Clark, undrafted, signing with the Broncos as a free agent, has rushed twice for 16 yards. Maddox going deep down the sideline. And broken up, intended for Miller with Albert Lewis right with him stride for stride. No, it was It was Albert Lewis. It was. Lewis pulled the gun there on Miller at the end, didn't he? They've been rivals for many years when Lewis played for Kansas City and Miller for San Diego.
Well, you have to be kind of ambidextrous to be a cornerback in this league. Good with your right or your left. Nice job knocking that thing down. He's been doing it for a lot of years. Watch that left hand. Miller's thinking 6. He thinks I have it. Tommy Maddox throws the ball. Oh, okay. The other guys get paid too, Tom.
Joe King was coming over to help Lewis at the last minute, but Lewis able to bat it down. Milburn. Milburn will be close to another Bronco first down, just short of the Raider 25-yard line. Joe King and Patrick Bates combining on the hit of Milburn.
Milburn's a great changeup for the Denver Broncos. When he gets in the game, you think you're going to get a little flat pass and a receiver.
Return punts and kickoffs as well. Milburn again, dances back the other way, gets a block, makes a nice cut up and is inside the Raider 10. James Trapp made a touchdown saving tackle as Glenn Milburn gallops for another Bronco first down.
Well, 3 or 4 plays back, you saw Clark read the cutback, and here is the cutback for Milburn. Some backs make cuts. Milburn gives a quiver. Defensive backs hate quivers. They can deal with moves, but you sort of instinctively quiver when a running back quivers, and that usually kills you.
Jerry Evans got a nice block for him, too, from the tight end spot. 7th play of the Bronco drive coming up, engineered by Tommy Maddox, mostly on the ground. It's 1st and goal from the 9. And Maddox, with a little mix-up in the offensive formation, will use a timeout. First taken by Wade Phillips and the Broncos. Second quarter, 8-3 Los Angeles, but the Broncos are threatening. Boy, I've been safely tucked in at about 9-ish every evening.
Some parts of the world, they call that late at night. Here it's early in the morning.
7th play of the drive. Only one pass. That was knocked down by Albert Lewis on the ground. Rivers bounced off one man and got 5 more yards. He's tackled all the way down at the 2 by Joe King.
Denver's got this running game working. I mean, Tommy Maddox is 0 for 1, but they've got runs of 10, 6, 10, 11, 17, 8. Watch this. It just gets soft inside, and a nice read. Rivers goes through a hole, and he sheds a tackle by Holmberg, an attempted tackle by Holmberg. You know, it won't take very long for the Raiders, if they keep giving up some rushing yards in the preseason, for people to say, well, Howie Long and Greg Townsend wouldn't have given up those kind of yardage. They're 2 great vets that the Raiders lost this year, one by retirement and one by because they chose not to sign them.
2nd and goal from the 1. And Clark burrows his way in for the touchdown. Big moment for Derek Clark, the rookie from tiny Evangel College, as he scores the Denver rushing touchdown from 1 yard out, as the drive covered 63 yards. Back, and here's the 2-point conversion by Denver.
Out of the shotgun.
Maddox has 4 wide receivers. I think he short hopped it. Was it good? Let's see. Still no signal. Still waiting.
You think it bounced? I don't know.
Anthony Miller. No, I say no. Thank you very much.
I think the paint on the ball might have been the dead giveaway off the goal line. They tried to run a little quick pick outside, and just a timing pattern. Miller slips, and watch the ball. Zip. Yep.
That was short hop. The conversion no good. Wade Phillips and the Broncos take a 1-point lead. As Jason Elam is set to kick it off for the Denver Broncos, who have taken the lead on the Raiders by a Colorado Rockies-like score, 9-8, giving the strength of the Rockies pitching staff.
Bottom of the 5th, right? Actually, you know, you look at this, the new tee, we're talking about the 1-inch tee. Probably the best analogy out there is a golf analogy. It's hitting a driver off the ground rather than off a tee. I mean, the great golfers can do that, but not many of us mere mortals can manage that. It just does not get the hang time. It might go as far, but it won't stay up there as long. I mean, find it.
That's right. It's buried in the grass there, and off that tee. None of the kickoff men have been able to reach the end zone today.
Oh, it's only going to be up off the ground on AstroTurf. On grass, he's going to be having to dig it out of the rough.
Raiders opened the game with a 76-yard pass to James Jett, and since then have had only 1 first down. First under Jeff Hostetler, and most recently under Vince Evans. Montgomery and Jordan, the deep men, for the Elam kick. Taken by Jordan. Charles Jordan. Nice return to the 34-yard line where the Raiders will take over. Frank Robinson made the tackle on special teams for Denver. Fred Biletnikoff with some final words for Vince Evans. First half possessions, the first one a big one, and not much after that.
But that's just sort of the offense they've had of late. I mean, they haven't had much of a running game, but what a threat when you can do it 76 yards at a time. At one point, early in the second quarter, they had 106 yards of offense and 76 on one play.
Darryl Hobbs and Rocket Ishmael wide receivers now for Vince Evans. He has Rathman and Montgomery in the backfield. Evans threaded the needle to his man for a completion. The Rocket makes the catch for a Raider first down. It covered 22 yards.
Vince Evans is an amazing quarterback. He just stands back there. He's 39 years old. Not much is going to fool him, and not much is going to surprise him, especially when he's working with a receiver like Ishmael. He laid that ball out there because he knew Ishmael could get to it. Watch him make the break. The ball's on the way, and a receiver has to assume a quarterback's going to get there, but there's not a whole lot of guys that get the ball in the exact right spot.
Raiders riddled the secondary of the Broncos last season in their sweep of the 3 games played between the two teams. Harvey Williams on the delayed handoff to the 40-yard line with a gain of 4 yards, tackled by Richard Harvey. Harvey Williams, former first-round draft pick by Kansas City out of LSU, had a subpar season last year, started 7 games, but it gained only 149 yards. But the Raiders think he can play. Well,
the Raiders made a lot of acquisitions in the offseason, but you hear the words referred to with Harvey Williams as he's almost like a used car, low mileage. And Harvey Williams has low mileage on him. He's a running back that hasn't been beaten up a lot, and they think with a Raider-type attitude, he could rally in this offense.
Evans, intercepted. Picked off by Glenell Sanders. Sanders all the way to the 25-yard line. Evans, who threw the interception, made the tackle. 36-yard interception return by Glenell Sanders, the free agent from Louisiana Tech.
And this is where a linebacker is sort of getting inside a quarterback's head. He sees Ishmael, he knows he likes to throw to Ishmael, and just steps right in front. And you talk about a quarterback making a tackle, but when you're the last guy and you threw the interception, you better make the tackle somehow, some way.
Sanders 2 years out of football after being released by the Rams in '92 with an interception in his first preseason game of the '94 campaign. So the Broncos again down in scoring territory. They begin with a first down at the 27 of the Raiders, already leading by a point. Rivers, nice run by Reggie Rivers. He rips off about 6 yards on first down before Patrick Bates gets him to the ground. A meeting between 2 former Texas players, Bates from Texas A&M and Rivers from Southwest Texas State.
And actually, before he got to him, he got to Brian Jones at linebacker, and it was more of a get out of my way, here's a shoulder in your face type of thing. And yeah, physically, Rivers should not be able to stay with a guy like a Bates. Bates is 220-ish. He's a big safety, and when he puts a hit on somebody, it ought to hurt, but Rivers is running with the pads low and the knees high.
Milburn is the only setback, 3 wide receivers in the game. Milburn with a handoff, reverses his field, makes a couple of nice moves. He's to the 15-yard line. That should be enough for a Bronco first down. Bates again on the tackle. And the Raiders' first-round draft choice, Rob Fredrickson, in the game.
And football's a learning experience. You see the running back, you're about to slam him, and Sprafford, 76, gets in your way. And that's just a matter of seeing the backfield and seeing the lineman.
Fredrickson, first-round draft choice, 22nd player taken from Michigan State, where he was all Big Ten, and the Spartans' top tackler. Looks like Scott Davis, the man shaken up. He's trying to return to football after a couple of years out. To grind it out. Averaging over 7 yards a carry thus far in the game.
11 of those rushes on first downs.
It's first down here at the Raider 15. This is a pass. Tommy Maddox pumps once, takes it back down, and throws it away. Closest man was Derek Russell, but Maddox, I believe, just pitched it away intentionally.
White striped socks back they were wearing back then.
They said they couldn't find any. In fact, they were brown and yellow striped, weren't they? Whatever they were ugly. They couldn't find anybody to make them these days. Glenn Milburn's inside the 10. He's had a productive first half. That's his 4th carry. And he's gained 40 yards. 10 yards a pop for Glenn Milburn, who was stopped that time by Greg Beavers.
Well, Jim Fossil and the offensive coaches have to be extremely pleased with the job right now this entire offense is doing, and specifically this offensive line. You mentioned that the line's banged up and there aren't very many substitutes available, but these guys early in the season, basically playing a whole half, are right now physically taking it to the Raiders' front 7.
Maddox from the gun. Finds Milburn, who made a nice catch and scores.
What you're about to see right now is the fact that a model that's 177 pounds with air brakes doesn't stop as good as a 223-pound model with air brakes. Bates could not stop. Good poise by Maddox. He's not going to see the beginning, but he catches the end. And Tom, I guess that's a reaction.
And a 2-point conversion attempt again by the Denver Broncos, who failed on their first. Milburn getting the dance going. Maddox. It's no good. Pritchard couldn't catch it. Again, the short hop from Maddox with James Trapp covering. But Maddox directs him to 6 on his pass to Milburn, and it's 15-8. And in answer to your question, did I get those 4x100 results? Yes, yes. Charles Jordan returns the kick. Bounces to the outside and gets 5 more yards across the 30 with a penalty marker down. Frank Robinson made the tackle after an 18-yard return by Charles Jordan. And a hold against the Raiders.
Holding on the return, number 23, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Here on NBC in a couple of weeks. There's a handoff to Harvey Williams, who spins his way forward for about 9 yards before Michael Ball takes him to the grass. Harvey Williams trying to prove that he can still play in the NFL.
Exactly. That's the low mileage model, Tom. We talked about it. The Raiders are doing what they have to do. They have got to get out. They've got to run the ball. They've got to establish that continuity and that rhythm to the offense. So far, it's been kind of big show and no go with the Raiders offense. A great big play, and the rest of the offense has lagged.
Averaged 3.5 yards a carry for the Chiefs last year. 3 carries, 13 yards in his first appearance in a Raider uniform. Tom Ratner draws the crowd. Mitch Donahue at the bottom of the pile, and of course the Mad Russian very much in evidence for the Denver Broncos today, Darren Drozdoff.
Did the Mongol horde get this far south?
Well, he has that fierce image, you know, but he has a nervous stomach, and this is a center's worst nightmare, Randy. You maybe can speak from experience.
I've heard the story.
He threw up on the football in a game one time. Ugh.
Yeah, he'd do that once.
His paella all over the football.
Oh, there's a lovely visual.
First and 10 for the Raiders. Vince Evans trying to get him moving. Rathman, the receiver. Short gain. 4 or 5 yards. Sanders and Aldridge combine on the stop.
Tom Rathman's nickname in San Francisco was Woody, and I'll guarantee you one thing you won't do with Woody is intimidate him with a hit. He'll block you hard, you can hit him hard. He'll catch a pass, you can hit him hard. He'll run, you can hit him hard, and he loves it. He'll get up and, you know, he might have the snot bubbles working, but he's going to tell you nice hit and run back to the huddle.
And then hit you hard next time.
First chance he gets.
2nd and 5, split backs are Rathman and Williams. Penalty marker, stop the play. Evans.
Oh, here comes. Oh.
There's the second out of the day. This one a little,
and the 3rd and 4th.
Bigger skirmish than the first. As Carlos Fowler had a hold of Vince Evans and would not let go until he took him to the turf. Fowler is only a rookie, a free agent from Wisconsin, but he's caught on to this rivalry in a hurry.
He caught on a little too quick, actually. I think he was about 2 yards in the backfield when they snapped the ball.
Neutral zone infraction on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Another value of a veteran is snap count. And the snap count will draw a young player off every time. Good enthusiasm, though. You got to give him that. But don't mess with a 19-year vet, especially a quarterback who knows he's got a bunch of big guys to help him out.
Yeah, but did you see Evans after that first shove? Did you see him dive behind some other guys?
How do you think he lasted 19 years?
So just about a yard to go for the Raiders. 2.5 minutes left. First half of Barcelona. Williams has the first down. He's to the 47, hauled down by Michael Ball. Ball, another new face in the secondary, a free agent. Was out of football last year after playing 5 years for Indianapolis. Timeout taken by the Raiders.
This is a good job so far by the Raiders coaches of just sort of showing confidence in their offense and their second team offensive line and saying, look guys, we're going to run the ball, so it's up to you. You know, we can either punt or you can move the ball. We're not interested right now in great big home runs and big hits. We've got
Evans down the sideline, almost picked off. It was intended for the Rocket, who was streaking down the right sideline. Michael Ball just able to tip it away.
Michael Ball doesn't tip that ball. I think everybody was clear to see that was 6 points for the Rocket. Just at the last second. And I mean, he does get that just with his fingertips because it was a nice throw by Vince Evans.
Ronnie Bradford well beaten on the play. The Rocket was behind him. There is a penalty marker.
Hands to the face. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
So it wouldn't have mattered anyway. A penalty against the Raiders. I think he called Rathman with hands to the face.
A long pass like that, though, it just gets opened up by being able to run the ball. The Raiders don't look quite as frustrated offensively now they've been able to run it down. And, gee, what a shock. Tom Rathman's got blood on his jersey.
And it's just the first preseason game. Evans with a punt once, sets up the screen. Williams got away from the initial hit, but then will be taken down for a gain of only a couple on the play. And the clock continues to roll toward the 2-minute warning. That was Richard Harvey, I think, that made a good defensive play for Denver to break up the screen. We'll pause now for the 2-minute warning. 29. Hoping to get the Olympics that landed in Berlin in 36. They didn't get them. Then the Spanish Civil War removed any other chance. They finally got their chance in 92 in a now renovated Olympic Stadium. Evans throws that one through the hands of Kevin Smith, a reserve tight end. Incomplete with Daryl Hall defending for the Broncos.
Daryl Hall's another one of the shocking safeties for Denver that will come up and they will hit you. Steve Atwater and naturally Dennis Smith kind of started it all years back, but these safeties will go after you. He's a free agent, Daryl Hall is, and I think he's a safety that's got a little bit more speed because Denver and Wade Phillips were burned badly last year when their corners couldn't stay with wide receivers and then their safeties couldn't help quick enough down deep.
And the first play of this game, shocked on a 76-yard reception by James Jett. Evans finds his man Daryl Hobbs. Hobbs makes the catch, immediately taken down by Ben Smith, who's getting plenty of work here in the first half. short of the first down with a minute 35 and ticking.
That was kind of a moral victory possession for the Los Angeles Raiders. They got into a situation where they were able to run the ball some. They got some good pass plays. A couple untimely penalties like you expect in the preseason hurt.
Jeff Gossett into punt on 4th down. Glenn Milburn, the deep man. Gossett for his 4th punt. Milburn's had some pretty good returns. Just got it away before the play clock expired. Milburn will let it bounce, and it does inside the 20-yard line. They'll mark it inside the 10 at about the 7-yard line. 40 yards on the punt by Gossett, backing the Broncos deep in their own territory with 58 seconds left in the opening half.
A good mix of passing early with John Elway, and since Tommy Maddox has been in there, they've just been hammering the ball.
And a good mix, 186 total yards, 105 on the ground, 81 in the air. Milburn. Willie Broughton on the stop of Glenn Milburn, who scored the Broncos' last touchdown on a pass from Maddox.
Scott Davis earlier got a little banged up. He obviously feeling a little healthy and a little feisty.
Davis and Freeman into it. And the flag finally. Neither one will let go of the other's face mask.
Spray water on him.
Finally get them separated.
It always amazes me, though, when guys fight on the field. Even when I was playing, it amazed me, because you're not going to hurt anybody.
Personal foul, 68 offense. Personal foul, 70 defense. Penalty is offset.
Why did we bother?
The dreaded offsetting penalty. That's like, never mind. But I mean, you can't hurt each other when you fight on a football field. You might slap each other around the ear holes there, and it kind of rings in your ears, but grab your face mask. Oh, I'll grab your face mask. Okay.
Scott Davis was a starter before he decided to go into private business and left football in the 92 and the 93 seasons.
45.
One season.
And he just does not look the same. He used to have the long flowing mane of blonde hair coming out the back of his head.
Maddox will take a knee. I'll tell you how much they had on the play clock if I could find it. Anyway, the half will come to an end. Well, the Raiders opened the game with a 76-yard scoring pass, Hostetler to James Jett. They hit the 2-point conversion, but Denver has come.
That opening Raider play, but in typical Raider fashion, you can't take those 76 yards away, and the Raiders have the point. So it's going to be a second half that's going to feature personnel, and it's going to feature quarterbacks. Coaches want to take a look, and they want to accomplish things off that list.
And you take a look at the Raiders getting set to open the second half with the kick. Jager will kick it off, and Denver with first possession of the second half. And the return from the 4-yard line. Butler, Binote's first action as a Denver Bronco. James Folston on the tackle. Binote, a running back at Ohio State, being converted to a defensive back, and obviously a returner by the Broncos. Penalty marking. It'll be a hold after a 43-yard return by the speedy Binote, who gets congratulations after his first professional effort. Butler Binote, 7th-round pick out of Ohio State. Well, if things go according to plan, and obviously they will, Sean Moore.
On return, number 57, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sean Moore at quarterback for the Broncos, the 3rd Denver quarterback today. Moore in his 4th year out of Virginia, former 11th-round draft choice. Didn't play all of last year. Got in 3 games in 92. So Elway and Maddox, 1-2 on the depth chart, are finished for the day. Sean Moore in this 3rd quarter, then Hugh Millen in the 4th.
You ever figure out, Tom, why you don't see like linemen and defensive backs and linebackers? How come they don't put baseball hats on when they get done?
It's an image thing, Randy. It's an offensive lineman. Phillips told him after that cheerleading stint that he could give the pregame talk for his team if he wanted.
And I'll tell you one thing, if you're Tommy Maddox and you're a young quarterback who has to have a big preseason and you want to pull a little stunt, you always make sure the big guy comes with you. You don't want to do it by yourself.
Well, you don't interfere with a siesta in Spain. And the chain gang is nowhere to be found.
Hey, Dick, you don't trust us or what?
I checked the Romulus for the
Dick Hantak, our referees, at a bit of a loss.
He's seen it all now.
There they come.
Look at Champlin taking a siesta. It's that time of day. It's siesta time. Oh, they got their own, too.
I wanted to do it.
For veterans like Elway, the preseason, the last 3.5 quarters can get a little boring. So he just wanted a little something to do.
He says he's enjoyed his time here in Spain, although the problem was he'd come back from practice and his wife would say, all right, she'd just gotten up out of bed. Where do we go now?
I played in London back in '88. Same thing. My wife Patricia goes, let's go see the Westminster Abbey. Big Ben. Buy a postcard. I'm tired.
Sean Moore with a handoff to Derek Clark on first down, and Clark stopped in his tracks by Beekert and others.
One thing you got to expect the Raiders to do is come out, like I said, with an attitude, because they're a team that has a lot of pride in not only how they run the ball, but how they stop the run. So if they bunch up a lot here on Sean Moore, don't be surprised if he pops one outside with a pass.
Moore looks over the defense. The defense led in the first half by Patrick Bates, who had 6 Raider tackles from his safety spot. Moore with a handoff to Dean Strother. He's a rookie from Southern Cal, signed as a free agent after gaining 1,127 yards for the Trojans. Holston and Bates. Bates with his 7th tackle of the game.
Bolson's seen a lot of action today, and he's played very well. He's an instinctive football player at this point. They brought him in here because they knew he could rush the passer. The reason in practice you don't see him rush the passer a lot, Al Davis said, is we're trying to teach him to be a linebacker. We know he can get the quarterback.
It's 3rd and 7 for Sean Moore, who's in the gun. Moore wings it. Incomplete. Off the hands of Cedric Tillman, the intended receiver, as Moore goes down in the face of the rush from Rob Holmberg.
They had a bit of a mismatch there with Tillman working against Holmberg, the rookie linebacker, number 57. They couldn't take advantage of it. Good speed there by Holmberg.
Tom Ruin will punt for the Broncos. Opening minutes of the 3rd quarter with Denver leading Los Angeles 15-8. See the deep man for Los Angeles, Darryl Hobbs. High spiraling punt from Ruin. Hobbs at the 30. And back to the 44-yard line. 14-yard return after Ruin booted it 52 yards. Jeff Robinson, special teams tackle for Wade Phillips Broncos. We got a timeout here at Olympic Stadium in Barcelona. The Raiders will have the ball for the first time in the second half when we come back. Minutes before 9 o'clock. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross from Olympic Stadium in this Catalonian city. The American Bowl between the Broncos and the Raiders. Harvey Williams, jumping tacklers. Finally taken down by Alan Aldridge after a pretty good game for Williams.
Well, here's a good example of 16 years of NFL experience coming at you with Max Montoya. At a UCLA, getting a little pull. Al Davis and the Raiders asked him to come back for his 16th year. Does a nice job in front of Harvey Williams. And, you know, Max is a lineman that's always been a power guy. And he's asked now to pull and move around more. And he's even more valuable because he can play center, he can snap, he can do it all at 16 years.
4 times to the Pro Bowl. Flags down.
Offense started about 5 yards too early on that one.
Kevin Smith, I think, moved prematurely. LA started this drive on its own 43, their best field position of the game. Trying to take advantage of it.
In these situations, will drive a head coach absolutely nuts.
Offside defense, number 91. Penalty is declined. First down.
Well, they called it on Willie Oshiden, so a break for the Raiders. The penalty against Denver declined, and it is a Raider first down.
Whether on offense or defense in these games, it's so hard. We've been mentioning that continuity and that momentum. You can't get something going. You'll watch the offenses and defenses most of the time are very lurching, just kind of going back and forth.
Vince Evans going deep down the sideline and incomplete. The rocket was behind the defender, Randy Fuller, but the pass hung up a little bit, enabling Fuller to catch up and knock the ball away.
One thing you can't really coach a wide receiver is speed and the ability to run to the ball. Watch Ishmael just separate. If that ball's in front of him, that's 6 points. And guess who knew he threw it too short?
Fuller was closing the gap, and it hit his pad and bounced incomplete. Setting up a 2nd and 10. Harvey Williams has a blocker, uses it well. He gets it almost to the 35-yard line before he's bumped out of bounds by Sebastian Savage. 6th carry of the game for Harvey Williams.
The offensive line coaches for the Raiders talk about how they've got their guys using more movement. Right there, Rich Stevens, number 77, big guy, got out and pulled in front of Harvey Williams. And Bill Myers and Mike White are the coaches, and it's a real challenge for them. The Raiders have always been a power zone blocking team, and they've just now started to get to the point where they're using their guards more, pulling and moving their tackles on the backside.
3rd down pass from Evans. He's going to run with it. Evans has the first down, and he slides to the 20-yard line. He got those 39-year-old legs churning for 16 yards. Vince Evans with a scrambling first down.
Well, he's got a 39-year-old body, but he's got a young man's sense of you better get out of the way because the bodies are coming after you. He can go pretty good for a guy that's been in the league as long as he has. I mean, heck, he's about my age. And I know I'd have been tackled back there. Well, I'd been tackled in the back.
Evans has played for the Bears, for the Chicago Blitz in the USFL, the Denver Gold in the USFL, and was a strike replacement player in 1987. 16 yards, the longest run of the day for a Raider. And Evans going for 6. He's got it. Hobbs for the touchdown. Darryl Hobbs beats the rookie Butler Bonote, the converted running back, for the touchdown.
And it's a veteran quarterback taking advantage of a young rookie cornerback, and also a veteran not making the same mistake twice. Last time, an open man, the ball was thrown a little short. Here, it is laid just in perfectly. And Vince Evans says, "You're not going to get me again, guys."
And setting up for the point after is Jaeger. This will be the first conversion kick of the day. All the other touchdowns brought 2-point tries. And he boots it through. So Vince Evans with a touchdown toss to Darryl Hobbs for 20 yards, and we're tied at 15. Had just scored a 20-yard pass, Vince Evans to Darryl Hobbs, and the score tied at 15. Cree Morris, a backup quarterback, and Glover and some others giving congratulations to Vince Evans.
Hey, a year ago, Tom, you'd see 15-15. You'd say, hey, another one of those field goal games.
Number 19, Rod Smith, awaiting the kick by Jaeger, along with Charles Swan of the Broncos. Smith and Swan, the deep man. Jaeger's kick bounces at the 5, and out of the end zone is Rod Smith. Bad decision. He's back to the 17-yard line. Well, not only are we calling the game for American television and throughout parts of Europe and Mexico, but here in Spain, it's on Canal Plus. The play-by-play man, Jose Antonio Poncetti, with Guillermo Gomez on color. Here's the way they called the last touchdown.
Y con la experiencia que ya tienes, no está el horno para bollos. Ahí está Evans, buscando el lanzamiento, ahora sí. A la end zone, touchdown Raiders. Touchdown del número 80 de Los Ángeles.
There they are. Goal!
Didn't you just say that?
Gomez, the color commentator, is a former Barcelona Dragons player. World Football League franchise here. Sean Moore's pass nearly intercepted. King took it on the short hop. It was intended for Keith McKellar, but overshot him completely. Well, it's as American as football, even in Spain. Hot dogs and hamburgers at the concession stand in Barcelona. Well, Sean Moore misfiring on that last pass. We got vendors through the stands as well. And Jim Fossil says accuracy is the problem for Sean Moore. Just not an accurate passer, and that's what's needed in this offense. Stands in the pocket and throws high. Again off the hand of the intended receiver, this time Derek Russell. Sean Moore expected to battle Hugh Millen for the third quarterback spot on the team. In fact, Fossil says Millen, who is charting plays there, has a chance to give Maddox a run for the backup spot.
Well, before the season even began, Hugh Millen made it perfectly clear he didn't consider himself a nominee to make this football team. He considered himself a nominee to be the backup for John Elway. And, you know, if you're talking numbers and you're talking salaries, Millen's at about $160,000, and Tommy Maddox is at 1.2, can be very compelling to an owner.
Meanwhile, it's Sean Moore's turn at the controls, and he's in the shotgun. Again, he has poise in the pocket, directing traffic and finding his man Pritchard. Pritchard all the way to midfield and into Raider territory, tracked down by James Trapp after a 34-yard gain. Sean Moore on target that time to the newcomer, Mike Pritchard.
And you mentioned the word patience, Tom, and this is a great example of Sean Moore's patience. He just sits and sits. He finds Pritchard, and when he finds Pritchard, watch Pritchard glide. He's not using that engine at full throttle until he makes his burst. Then he bursts and tries to make it. He's a running back playing wide receiver.
So the Broncos take a page from the Raider book with a long pass completion. Second catch of the day for Pritchard. And before Pritchard and the Broncos can get the play underway, the whistle sound.
Angeles, their first charge timeout.
So the Raiders will take the timeout. It comes with 9 minutes, 13 seconds showing in the third quarter of a tie game.
Welcome back to Barcelona. We're all tied, the Raiders and the Denver Broncos. I'm with Raider owner Al Davis. Now, what about the team in '94?
Well, as you know, we're interested in perpetuating the greatness of the Raiders. We think we've dominated 3 decades, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. In the 90s, we've been in the playoff 3 out of 4 years. But you got to break through. You got to do great things at the end and be in Super Bowls and win them. We have a shot.
What about the Coliseum?
Well, we hope the Coliseum is ready. We expect it to be ready, but we also expect that the Los Angeles Coliseum will be a great area. It will be a state-of-the-art facility, like the great facilities around America, one that we can be proud of, the city of Los Angeles can be proud of, and we certainly can hear the roar of the crowd.
Al, we're going to watch this play and then come back for one other comment.
Sean Moore of the Broncos, incomplete. Doc?
You know, Al, I look around, and as an old Jet, I get, you know, chills because I see some of those guys, the Charlie Smiths, the Ben Davidsons, the Otis Sistrunks, the George Blanders. How many guys did you invite on this trip?
Well, we invite almost everybody that we possibly can that's within the vicinity of Los Angeles that can make it. And though even a few that can't, we try to help out to get here. But the great thing about it is that the Raiders, their tradition, the history, we'll never give that up. We owe a great debt to those who came before this team and whose glory we all share. And we'll never forget that. These are truly great players. They're my friends, and they're guys that live with me, they're with our team, and it's just great to be with them on a trip like this.
You sure short gain there. I thank you, and yeah, I saw Judge Blanda down there and Jim Otto and a whole bunch of Hall of Famers. Tom, back to you now.
All right, Doc, and it was, there's another Hall of Famer in a Raider uniform. It was great to talk to George Blanda and some of the others at practice. There is a definite family feeling around the Raider organization.
There really is. You only really see something like this. Very few pro teams, some college teams, but you know, the Raiders have that attitude. There's George Blanda, another Hall of Famer. Raiders have that attitude that you might be on another team now in a while, but once you're a Raider for life.
Moore again with time in the pocket, plenty of time. Finally it breaks down and he scrambles. And the pass for Strother is incomplete. Broken up at the last minute by Dan Land with a penalty marker down.
Could be a little late shot on the quarterback.
Looks like it will be against the Raiders. Well, Hall of Famers in the traveling party of Los Angeles. Al Davis, Art Shell, Fred Biletnikoff, George Blanda, Jim Otto, Sid Gilman. A galaxy of stars here in Barcelona.
Personal foul, defense number 92, unnecessary roughness, 15 yards, first down.
Frederick Collins is called for the penalty. Collins, second year out of California, free agent.
If I'm going left, I do, but I'm going
4 penalties, 50 yards against Shell's troops. Letting Collins know about it right there. There's Biletnikoff, one of those Hall of Famers. He has to speak clearly into that helmet receiver now. Some of the Raider quarterbacks said that's a problem for Fred. The drive continuing under Sean Moore. Handoff to Clark. Tries the middle, bounces off to the right, and gains 4 or 5 yards.
Willing to give it all up on special teams.
15-15 here in the third quarter. Broncos trying to hold serve. Moore's in trouble. He got away once, but not twice. I think he'll be ruled down as Audrey Bruce and Jerry Ball, the 2 veterans, converge on Sean Moore.
Jerry Ball gets a lot of credit for being, hey, he's a great run defender, but watch 98 in the middle of your screen, break through, get the first one, can't get him that time, get all 310 pounds up and get him again. I mean, he's got a lot of tenacity, he's got great quickness, and he's going to add some really good things to this Raiders defensive line. He's a defensive lineman that when he's at the top of his game as he was in Detroit, not so much as when he was Cleveland, you've got to actually game plan around him.
Ball, 300+ pounds. Bruce about 265.
Plus is safe.
On Moore, yeah.
The plus is safe.
That could be anything up to 100. From the gun. Moore finds his outlet. It's Strother. Dean Strother takes the safe pass and is close to the 30-yard line. Another flag is down. It'll be against the Broncos.
Holding, offense, number 76, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, third down.
That's Kirk Scrafford on the hold.
You know, the Raiders drafted with their #1 pick a linebacker, and that's never happened before. And Fredrickson's a linebacker that has got the ability to play tough inside. He was an outside linebacker at Michigan State, but he can run. He's out here and he's running with a running back. He can cover the receivers inside, and he's a guy that Al Davis really likes. And to be honest, I think the Raiders project this guy as a starter by the beginning of the regular season.
Gotten the calculators out and determined it's 3rd and 32. 16-yard sack followed by a 10-yard penalty as Fredrickson looks into the backfield. Moore with a screen to Strother. And a gain of 4 or 5 yards. Collins again on the tackle for the Raiders.
I love it sometimes when you get a situation like that. And coaches will get criticized and say, well, why'd you run that play? I mean, there is not a play in a playbook. There's no page you can open up that says, oh, okay, 3rd and 32, 3rd and desperation. We don't have those. And Jim Fossil's trying to explain to Sean Moore the little intricacies of his offense and what exactly he'd like him to do to execute it.
Tom Ruin will punt for the Broncos. Averaging 47.5 on the afternoon, and Daryl Hobbs scored a touchdown in the Raiders' last possession on a pass from Evans.
Hey, back
Ruin
up!
shanks it out of bounds. He'll line up the angle to spot that one, and it will be down only an 18-yard punt off the foot of Tom Ruin. So we'll take a break. There's 5:15 left in the 3rd quarter from Barcelona.
Go.
Recording que la venda 1935 torna la Liga Mundial de Futbol.
That was good, yeah. We got Billy Joe Hobart in there now. Uh-oh, boys.
302.
Hobart. Yeah, 302.
Ah, yes.
Calvin Jones is also in.
Yeah.
Picture there is Calvin Jones, the rookie from Nebraska, 3rd-round draft choice. He was highly thought of by the Raider coaching staff. First down, Los Angeles, deep in their own territory, short of the 30-yard line. And Jones with his first carry. Nets about 5 before he's stopped by Keith Burns.
He's got that acceleration and that pop, much like you saw Glenn Milburn in the first half, where he gets that first 3 or 4 or 5 yards so quickly. The difference is Milburn weighs 177 pounds, and Jones is more of a legitimate sized running back at 200 plus.
Jones came out as a junior. Despite that, left Nebraska as their 2nd all-time leading rusher. 3,153 yards and 40 touchdowns. All-America and a Doak Walker finalist. That's the award given to the best running back in the country. Billy Joe Hobart. And off the hands of Kevin Smith, the intended receiver.
It's not his fault, Kevin.
Yeah, I think
that ball was a little high. It was a tough one. You know, Kevin Smith is a guy that played with Tommy Maddox at UCLA. They both came out early, and it's been a pretty good contrast as the 2 careers so far. Tommy Maddox has sat on the bench, and Kevin Smith has had to struggle the last couple of years and is being challenged right now because Al Davis and the Raiders brought Jamie Williams in, a real veteran tight end they signed as a free agent from San Francisco.
And his dad, Charlie Smith, played running back with the Raiders with Art Shell. Hobart to the air again. Maybe not. Makes a nice run out of it. Billy Joe Hobart showing his wheels. He's into Bronco territory to the 47-yard line. 18-yard gain and a Raider first down.
You don't see a lot of speed on many occasions from quarterbacks, and when they get the opportunity to run, generally they're looking for a place to slide and somewhere to go out of bounds. But this is the 2nd half of an early preseason game, and Billy Joe Hobart is looking to make an impression on Art Shell and the entire Raiders organization.
Hobart, a former Rose Bowl most valuable player in his career with the Huskies of Washington. Quite a baseball player as well. Up the middle, Derek Gaynor. A gainer to the 40. That's about 8 yards. Not quite a full gainer. about 3 yards short.
You know, so far the Raiders' 2 big long runs of this game have come from Vince Evans at 16 yards and Billy Joe Holbert just now at 18 yards. So they're not quite getting the production where they wanted it, but they're starting to get the yards.
Close the book on Vince Evans, by the way. His numbers 7 of 10, 74 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Smith in motion on 2nd down. It's like a counterplay to Jones. And Calvin Jones makes a nice cut for a Raider 1st down. He's to the 34-yard line, where he's stopped by Michael Ball.
What Calvin Jones has, he has the ability to go at the line of scrimmage, read blocks, and then accelerate. Watch this acceleration right there. You see how he was moving laterally? He saw that hole, and bang, he just went. Nice job by Stevens, 77, filling that hole out.
Calvin led the Big 8 in scoring for 3 years at Nebraska. Quite a feat. Art Shell saying he thinks this running back might be the sleeper of the draft. He was still available in the 3rd round, and the Raiders snapped him up. Mix up in the backfield, and Hobart's going to have to run with nowhere to go. Dives down to the 40, a loss of 5. Alan Aldridge made sure he didn't get up. Aldridge, the rookie out of Houston, was 2nd round draft choice. All-American for the Cougars.
We talked about the Raider linebackers earlier. The Denver Broncos picked up a linebacker in Alan Aldridge who will also have immediate impact on this team. You watch him in practice, I don't care if you see him without the pads. He moves, he runs, he's making calls. This is going to be a guy around for a long time, and a guy that's going to help the Denver Broncos in '94.
His dad, too, Alan Sr., played in the NFL for Cleveland and Houston. Play blown dead, flags are down. 1:47 left in this 3rd quarter, 15-15 game.
False start, offense number 86, simulating the start of a play.
Against some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Randall Cunningham and Rick Meyer, the leaders after the first 2 before events. That's Calvin Jones on the carry. Jeff Hostetler was the winner in '93 of the quarterback challenge, but was unable to compete this year. His ankle was hurting at the time. So Hostetler came to the competition at Walt Disney World, but was unable to compete. Elway, though, was in action.
What a world of difference Jeff Hostetler's seen in the 2 conferences he's been in. He talks about the NFC East and that smash mouth, and with the better weather, I should say. Denver can get some inclement weather from time to time, but the better weather of the AFC West, they put that ball in the air, and these offenses are wide open.
I asked Tim Brown yesterday what had been the compelling reason for his great season of the year ago, and he said the arrival of Jeff Hostetler. Billy Joe Holbert hits Kevin Smith for a long one. That's to the 15-yard line, and that'll be a Raider 1st down. Smith held on to that.
And that ball was put where Kevin Smith could catch it. The last one a little too high. But you watch that poise in the pocket. Those aren't happy feet. Smith right in the middle of the zone, running up the seam. Nice job by Smith. And when you see a tight end that needs 3 guys to tackle him, you're looking at a tight end that a coach loves to get the ball to.
That covered 29 yards, and the Raiders have a 1st down at the Broncos 15. Just seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. To the outside, Smith can't get loose. Shoestring tackle made that time by the Broncos' Ray Jacobs. And that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter, with the Raiders threatening to break a 15-15 tie. Back after a word from your local station.
You all right down there, Mark? Oh, okay. Nice. Let's take a look at, let's get a shot in here on Montoya and Skrepnak. I said, let's get a shot in here on Skrepanak and Montoya on that line. Is that Kroll? Yeah, Kroll's still in there. What's he doing in there? So that's one thing about Denver. They have no hesitation to play their starters late in the preseason game. Yeah. Here comes Simon Fletcher, speaking of which, and Dave Whamond. I don't know.
Did you say we're doing score by quarters? We're back in Barcelona where the game began as James Jett sprang from the starting blocks as he had at the Olympics here 2 years ago for a 76-yard touchdown. The Raiders were on top early, but the Broncos came storming back to lead 15-8 at halftime. In the third quarter, the Raiders had the only score and were tied at 15. Los Angeles controlling the ball the last 5 minutes or so of that third quarter on the ground with the 10th play of their current drive coming up. The Raiders gained 120 yards in that third quarter to only 32 for the Broncos. Billy Joe Hobart, the quarterback for Los Angeles, and hands it to Calvin Jones.
Boy, that was a smart run by Calvin Jones. At the end of the third quarter, you saw him try to stretch that one too far. That's a lesson a young running back has to learn, that there's too much speed in the NFL. There's nowhere to go out there. When you run, if you're going laterally, you better find yourself a soft spot inside. And right there's Calvin Jones' soft spot. And when he gets going north and south, he just gets the pads down low, and he's a quick, squirting runner. I really like this guy.
And so do the Raider coaches. And the Broncos have gotten some of their regulars back in defensively here with the Raiders knocking on the goal line. The ball spotted about the 7-yard line.
Preseason's preseason, but pride's pride.
Especially when the Raiders and Broncos get together. Jones fumbled the ball, got it. There's a flag down. And a break for Jones, who fumbled the ball, as the offside called against Wade Phillips' Broncos.
Offsides, defense number 99 lined up in the neutral zone. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. It will be 1st and goal.
Shane Burnett guilty of lining up in the neutral zone. Burnett out of Orange, Texas high school, competed against Tommy Maddox in an all-star game there and was impressed. Still is. 1st and goal with the 11th play of this long Raider drive. Touchdown, Jones.
There's a case of 3 or 4 good blocks and a whole lot of speed by Calvin Jones. You talk about defenders when they're approaching a running back or a wide receiver that they have the angle. Watch the angle Calvin Smith's speed gives him. See that angle? With that speed, I mean, it's ball game over. Forget it. Atwater's not going to get there in time. One more time as he comes right at you. Watch the acceleration. Those knees suddenly go about 6 inches higher towards his chest when he sees open ground.
And after scoring 40 touchdowns at Nebraska, he gets his first NFL score in a preseason game. He's carried 5 times, 25 yards and a touchdown, has Calvin Jones, all on that drive. He'll kick the extra point, and Jager boots it through. Long Raider drive winds up in a Calvin Jones touchdown, and Los Angeles has a 22-15 lead. Well,
I like it when we talk nice about somebody and he goes, wow. goodness.
Do you know how many
Thank goodness
people were there? What ages they were? Well, that's a pretty large range.
How about 750? Yeah,
okay.
And we'll get Hugh Millen as soon as we get back, too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you jump in on this if you want to. Well, this American Bowl in Barcelona is not just a football game for the professionals. It's a chance for a clinic for Spanish young boys and girls. Some 500 to 700 Spanish boys and girls turning out for the NFL experience. Hey, oh, I thought for a moment that was Reggie Johnson. This could be the next Calvin Jones as the youth turn out for some football instruction. In a field adjacent to Olympic Stadium, Calvin Jones just scored, and another generation of American football players, perhaps, from Spain. They'll have the Barcelona Dragons as part of the World League of American Football in effect in spring of '95. Here's the return by Charles Swan. He's to the 25-yard line, swamped by orange jerseys there. I should say Raider jerseys with Grab 'em at the bottom of the stack for the Raider silver and black. New quarterback Hugh Millen. Millen in his 9th year out of Washington, signed with the Broncos as a free agent. You'll remember him as the starter with the New England Patriots before the arrival of Drew Bledsoe. Jim Fossil, his offensive coordinator, saying Millen is a little rusty but showing signs of really picking up this offense. Strother caught from behind and dragged down by Jerry Ball.
You talk about the way Hugh Millen's progressed in Jim Fossil's eyes. He's really playing in an offense now that's more suited to his abilities. He's got an offense that makes him think. It makes him throw it accurately to a spot. It's an offense that receivers and quarterbacks have to be on the same page. And he's going to give not only Sean Moore, but he's going to give Tommy Maddox a run for his money.
Getting his chance here in the 4th quarter for the Broncos, who trailed 22-15, just under 13 minutes left. Millen with a handoff. And not much there. Clark needed only a yard and may not have gotten that. Rob Fredrickson, the rookie linebacker from Michigan State, made the Raider tackle.
Well, we saw Jerry Ball earlier with his pass rush and his abilities. Watch 98 right over the center. That's Waddell working at center, and Jerry Ball just stuffs the center back into the backfield, and that enables the linebackers and the ends on the outside to come inside and help. That's one of the things he does best, and he did it for a long time for Detroit.
Third and a little over a yard as the play clock ticks down, and Millen stopped it with a timeout before he got the 5-yard penalty. He'll come to the sideline to discuss things with Jim Fossil and the Bronco coaching staff, and we'll take a timeout with the Raiders up 7 at the foot of Montjuic, the mountain that housed the Olympic venues, most of them. It was a sight to see during the days of the Olympics 2 years ago. Hugh Millen's pass complete for a short gain. It'll be close to the first down. They only needed a yard or so, and Strother caught it out of the backfield. It will be first down. Greg Beekert made the tackle, but Millen with a short completion for the first. Millen looked like he was trying to get the signal from the sideline, or maybe couldn't hear that transmitter. You think there was a glitch or two in that?
Oh, there's going to be problems with that whole system, and it's just that's why they don't give up those hand signals, those the primitive rock wall paintings they use on the sideline to signal plays in.
Looked like he might have picked up a World Wrestling Federation match or something. Where he was looking at the sideline. Millen with a handoff to Dean Strawther. And the rookie from Southern Cal has another short gain, 3 or 4 yards. Beekert makes another tackle. And a pretty good job in the center of the Raider defense.
One thing about this part of a game you gotta take into consideration. This is really when the coaches are getting a good look, especially early here in the preseason, at some long shot types. Some of their free agents, some of their rookies. A guy like Millen's getting a shot to prove what he can do, but there's about 15 guys in the field right now that are seriously getting what might be their only shot.
Millen being chased and taken down at the 30-yard line. Who else? Jerry Ball. He's still got some pop.
When he was in Cleveland, they called he and Perry crush and rush, and he's got a little bit of that rush working right now. Look at the way he gets by Olaf Hampel, number 74. Just arm over quick, and he is gone. Remember, this is a guy that's 6'1", what do we call him, 300 plus?
300 plus, and, just to be safe.
I tell you, he can be all you can handle in a phone booth.
Broncos now with a 3rd and very long. Millen again is in trouble. And again, he's taken down, this time by Collins and Duff. Tough going for Hugh Millen as he walks off the field with a crowd of 37,406 here at Olympic Stadium to see the 2nd American Bowl held in Barcelona. Night has fallen in this Catalonian city at 9:35 p.m. Tom Ruin will do the punting duties, and deep is Hobbs for the Raiders. Back pedals, steps out at the 30. We have a timeout, 9:40 left, and the Raiders continue to lead. I have to say where it is. Okay. No Olympic flame tonight. Tradition dictates it not be lit. Besides, where would we get another arrow to light it? We sent John Jackery in search of the original arrow at the Montjuic Olympic Museum.
Tom, the museum is archived.
Hey, John, I don't think any of us that were here in Olympic Stadium for the opening ceremonies will ever forget it, and I'm sure millions more watching on television feel the same way. What was ironic about that was in practice and rehearsal, they had several archers and none of them could hit the target. And finally, when it came time for the actual ceremonies with millions and millions around the world watching, Antonio Rebollo stepped up and nailed it. It was some moment. And of course, many track and field memories here too. You see the running track just before you get to the football field. Spent a couple of weeks here, and one of the men who got a gold medal at those Olympics, James Jett, who was a member of the U.S. 4x100 relay team, ran in the prelims, but got a gold medal after Carl Lewis took his place in the final, but he still got the gold, and today he scored the first touchdown on the first play of the game. I'm sure that was his intention when he arrived in Barcelona, and he saw that dream come true as well. Just walking on the track the other day, he said his first sight of the Olympic track again sent chills down his spine. And I asked him what was he feeling when he awaited the handoff of the baton from Dennis Mitchell. He said, I was just so nervous, afraid I'd drop it, afraid I couldn't catch. He was third actually when he got the baton, managed to qualify for the U.S. and they went on to set the world record while winning the gold medal. Billy Joe Hobart's in trouble and taken down from behind, stopped by the veteran Simon Fletcher.
And here with about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, quite a few of the Denver veterans are still in for their defense. I know the offensive line was banged up, but Simon's got an opportunity, I think, to really make himself a name in this NFL. And if you haven't figured it out, Simon Fletcher is a force on defense. Look at this. I mean, those are some big names below him, and I think he's really suffered from the fact that no one knows what he plays. Do you vote for him for the Pro Bowl for linebacker? Do you vote for him for defensive end? And I think the Broncos have sort of relieved him of that duty. He's basically been designated as a defensive end.
He told us that happens just as everyone got used to him being a linebacker.
Catch 22.
Not a good punt. It takes a roll before Jeff Campbell can pick it up. Gossett got off only a 37-yarder that time. So Hugh Millen will be back to direct the Bronco offense, and what they hope is a comeback in just a moment. Teams brought their cheerleaders as well, much to the delight of the Barcelona fans. And with 7.5 minutes left, Hugh Millen trying to direct the Broncos to a tie or go-ahead score. Finds his outlet receiver, Derek Clark. Clark powering his way ahead. And is to the 30-yard line. Raiders leading 22-15. Approaching the 7-minute mark in quarter number 4.
It's a great setup right now, Tom, for that old two-point conversion we've talked about so many times tonight. Get a touchdown here and get a chance to get a game decided by a two-point conversion.
Well, in the few preseason games that have been played so far, the two-point conversion has been prominent, probably more so than in the regular season. The coach is trying it out and seeing how the opposition defends it. Millen collides with his running back on the handoff, and that will net very little, if anything. Denver's tried two-point conversions. They're 0 for 2 thus far. They would have to go for 2 to win it if they can score here. Hugh Millen's had his problems since he's been there. As Jim Fossil predicted, he is a bit rusty.
Well, he'll have a few weeks to figure this whole thing out roster-wise. There's no cut down for a few more weeks yet for Wade Phillips and Jim Fossil on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to have to decide before they cut down. And remember, the cut down dates and the cut down numbers are way different.
Millen hit as he let it go. And was that a juggling catch made by Barry Rose? If it was a good one, and indeed it will stand. Barry Rose, the free agent out of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, who's been around the practice squads of a couple of teams, made a nice juggling catch on the sideline.
Millen stayed in about as long as he could on that last play. Not healthy to stand back there very much longer. He's getting some good rush pressure right here, but just as he steps up, John Duff comes around from the outside. Duff, one of the deep talent the Raiders have at tight end, has been converted to a defensive end, and at 6'7", 250, he's got the body for it.
Broncos with a first down just across their own 35-yard line. Flag down as Derek Clark is hit and driven back by the white-shirted Raiders, led by the rookie linebacker Rob Fredrickson. Offside against Los Angeles. Well, the worst nightmare of the Broncos was to have to face the Raiders again. The first time since the 60s these two rivals have met in the preseason, and the third straight meeting between them going back to the final two games of '93. And look at here, the third game of the regular season. The Raiders and Broncos will get together once again.
They're going to play 5 times in 1994. January 2nd, January 9th, now, and 2 times in the regular season. And you get a good idea of why you don't see a lot of wide open offense on either one of these teams' part.
1st and 5 after the penalty. Millen down the sideline, incomplete. Darren Butler had pretty good coverage of Jeff Campbell. There's Butler, who is from Alcorn State, released by the Raiders last season. He's a cornerback and sprinter, and is signed again by the Raiders as a free agent for this campaign.
Well, there's positions you can pick with certain teams that it's a good idea to try to make the team at. I'm not sure if trying to make the team at defensive back with the Raiders is the place you'd want to pick. It's definitely a long shot. You've got to make a good impression on Art Shell, and you got to make that impression very early.
Millen fires a strike, complete to Rose. That will be a Bronco first down. Ricky Dixon, a veteran, trying to inside 5 minutes. It's 22-15 Los Angeles. Fumble by Strother. He got back on it, but a loss of yardage on the play. Millen and his running backs have had a lot of problem with the handoffs.
The handoffs and running into each other has been a bit of a problem for them as a group. It's one of the things that goes along with preseason, and I think it's something a coach, whether it's Wade Phillips or it's Art Shell, they just don't get used to watching their offenses struggle like this, and it's especially tough on the offensive coordinators. A guy like Jim Foss's got all these great plans for his offense, and guys start running at each other in the backfield and dropping handoffs.
Well, too bad this is the preseason, because it's a perfect spot for one of those patented John Elway fourth quarter-led comebacks. 32 times in the fourth quarter he's brought his team from behind. Millen is not having the same success. That time the Raider rush just overpowered the offensive line of the Broncos, and Alberto White gets credit for the sack.
Well, White was coming from the backside, and John Duff, who we talked about earlier, was coming from the front side, and between the two of them, they completely collapsed that pocket into Millen.
Right now, the Bronco offense is in reverse, and time running out. 3:50 left.
And this is a nightmare for a quarterback in the preseason. And John Elway can really empathize with the way that Hugh Millen feels right now, because you're down, you're trying to make something happen, and in this situation, it's serious bodily harm could happen to you the way the defense comes after the quarterback.
Here they come again. Raiders already have 4 sacks. Millen, though, unloads this one downfield. And a flag down as the pass intended for Tony Kimbrough is broken up. It could be interference on Dan Land of the Raiders.
I think maybe Kimbrough pushed off a little bit at the end there.
That's what Land is saying. I was the man fouled.
That'd be my story if it was me.
Let's see. Dick Hantack will sort it out.
Interference, defense number 25, automatic first down.
Land doesn't agree, but the call goes against him.
Let's have a look. They're running stride for stride. There's the contact, absolutely correct.
Yep, and Land did not look back for the football. Definitely pass interference. Dan Land of the Raiders.
From this angle up here, it almost looked, all you really saw was the ward off.
3rd and 28. Hugh Millen and Denver connect, converting on the penalty. Here's a play action pass. Millen across the middle. Clark juggled it, but hung on. He's close to the 20-yard line. Taken down by Fredrickson, and
ball's being dropped, and through it all, he's taking deep breaths and come through.
He's going to try to convert through the air here. On the out, he has it to Rose. Rose out of bounds inside the Raider 15, where Torin Dorn chases him out.
Now this is a situation right here, Tom, where whether it's your 3rd team or your 4th team, you want your defense when it's crunch time. It's 22-15. You got to stop a team from coming down, and the offense isn't doing a whole lot, and then suddenly they explode a little bit, and your defense is looking like they're letting up.
Art Shell 9-1 against the Broncos in his coaching career.
If you don't think head coaches don't care about preseason games, watch these late and watch them on the sideline.
First down play from the Broncos. Another play action. Millen completes it short. It's to the 9-yard line. Catch made by tight end Dwayne Carswell with Fredrickson draped all over him. There's a penalty marker down. Pass interference against the Broncos. Offensive interference.
Hugh Millen.
Let's see if he's up to this one. 2.5 minutes remaining. 22-15 Raiders. man Strother wide open. Makes a good move to get away. He's to the 5 and taken out of bounds. Dean Strother with a nice run after making the catch from Millen. It'll be 1st and goal, Denver.
This is the case of this rookie from Southern California, knowing he's not going to get very many shots at making this ball club, and gets this pass and tries to make something happen. And the something he makes happen is good. That's Hendrickson being victimized by that move, the special teamer and defender for the Raiders. And nice job by Strothers of getting out of bounds.
Ball between the 5 and 6. 2:21 on the clock. Broncos down 7. Clark looking for a hole, finding none, just power straight ahead, and he is inside the 5 to the 3 as we approach the 2-minute warning.
That was a pretty good job right there on that run. There really wasn't very much there. He had the patience to sort of sit behind the pile and then dive forward for some yards. Might have got the first down.
I think Denver's taking a timeout, although Dick Hancock wound the clock. Let's see. The
Water boys are on the field. As far as
I guess they just knew it would tick down to the 2-minute warning. That's what it was. No timeout. It just ticked down to the 2-minute warning. They didn't have to run a play. So it is the 2-minute warning from Barcelona, with the Broncos looking for the win in the final 2 minutes. Dockery, 2 minutes left in the game. The Broncos with a goal line situation. They're on about the 3-yard line, threatening to either tie or take the win. Strother to the goal line. There's a marker down. He fumbled the football. There's a scramble for it, and there's a penalty marker too.
Well, Denver did exactly what you'd think they'd had to do. Just the heck with the pass. Just slam it into the end zone, using the run that's been working so well.
First order of business, who has the football? It appears that the Broncos do, as Keith McKellar made the recovery. Now what about the penalty?
Offside. Defense, number 50, lined up in the neutral zone. Penalize half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down. First down.
In the neutral zone, we were at practice a couple days ago. We must have seen it half a dozen times if we saw it once, but good execution in spite of the encroachment into the neutral zone until that fumble.
So it'll still be 1st and goal with a ball now between the 1 and 2, the 13th play of a drive that began with 7.5 minutes to go on the Denver 24-yard line. The big play on a 3rd and 28 was a pass interference call against Dan Lamb. Split backs, Millen hands. Touchdown, Derek Clark. And Wade Phillips holds up 1. He's going to go for 1 in the tie. Second touchdown of the day for the rookie Derek Clark, and they're going to kick for 1 to tie.
I'd say watch the fake, but you got nothing to lose. Why not go for 2?
Well, they were 0 for 2 on their previous 2-point conversion attempts. So Wade Phillips, despite it being the preseason, plays the conservative game to tie it at 22. To prove a point and not risk a loss with a failed 2-point conversion. They had failed on their other 2 tries. This is Charles Jordan with a kickoff return for the Raiders to the 33-34 yard line, tackled by Ray Jacobs. Billy Joe Hobart is the Raider quarterback. Raiders do have 2 timeouts left. The clock shows 1:46. They'll have the ball at their own 38-yard line. Billy Joe Hobart will get a chance of running the 2-minute offense for the Raiders. Quarterback challenge will follow this game. The Foot Action NFL Quarterback Challenge. John Elway and others in action on NBC Sports World coming up next.
Quite a few Denver Bronco regulars in up front. They're going to come after Billy Joe here. Why not? Drop back and chuck it.
But if you're going to put your regulars in, why didn't you go for 2? Here's a draw play handoff to Derek Gaynor to the 40-yard line. Stopped by Elijah Alexander.
A little fight back there. That'll stop the clock.
Stops it with 1:16. Excuse me, 1:36.
A real danger for Denver here defensively is to kind of get lulled a little bit by the Raiders offense. If they run it, you better keep a close check on those receivers.
Jordan and Morton and Thomas are the three receivers in there now.
Holbert fumbles. Mike Kroll almost came completely clean.
And the Raiders recover.
Watch this coming from Billy Joe Holbert's back. See any jerseys in Mr. Kroll's way? Wow. Raiders are extremely lucky they got one.
Rich Stevens recovered the Raider fumble. They retain possession, but it's third down. Holbert slips. There's a flag down as he completes it to Doug Thomas. Thomas short of the first down at the Raider 40.
The Broncos have the Raiders at a bit of a disadvantage. A little procedure against the Raiders.
Illegal formation, offense, no offensive receiver on the end of the line. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
So this backup offensive line for the Raiders is facing guys like Simon Fletcher and facing guys like Mike Kroll, and they just could not stand up to that rush.
Fourth down punt. Jeff Gossett.
I wouldn't look for a block here, Tom. I'd look for just a good, safe return and want to get the ball back and try to get in field goal position.
Jeff Campbell, the return man. Has it at 24 and immediately tripped up. Good open field tackle made by the Raiders. Greg Beekert. Another flag. It's back upfield.
It's in that illegal man downfield, exactly what it is area.
See if they make the Raiders kick it again.
Ineligible. Offense, number 54, downfield prior to the snap. Penalty is declined. First down.
It is Beekert downfield, but the penalty refused. And the Broncos will take over with 1:10 showing.
Well, so far this is scripted out pretty well for the Broncos offensive coaches. You know, Jim Fossil's got a chance to come down late in the game. It wasn't a great executed drive, but he got his tie, and now he's got his 2-minute offense drill and a chance to get his least experienced players a little bit of a chance here. With 1:10 to go, they got a shot at winning the ball game.
Hugh Millen awaiting the call. Don't forget, coming up after the football game, even after overtime, will be the quarterback challenge in its entirety. You'll see all of the competition. Randall Cunningham leading it after the first day's events, the first 2 of 4 events. Rick Meyer won the quarterback challenge accuracy competition, and then Randall Cunningham took the distance toss with a throw off against Drew Bledsoe. And the final 2 events of the quarterback challenge coming up after the game today. Tillman makes the catch and goes out of bounds for a gain of 11. Well, can Millen magic work again? Looked hopeless when he drove him down the field to the tying scores.
Well, we know the Raiders are flying back tonight about 2 o'clock in the morning. 9-hour time difference getting back to Los Angeles. It would be the definition of a long flight if they let this one go.
1 minute and 1 second. 1 minute and 1 second on the game clock. Thank you.
It's a piece. Millen from the shotgun. Hands off to Strother. Dean Strothers to the 45-yard line. 2 yards short of the first down. We're inside the final minute of regulation. No huddle. Miller overshoots his intended target, Dean Strother. Jason Elam limbering up that leg, hoping for a game-winning field goal. He missed one in overtime in the final regular season game at the Coliseum against the Raiders. And the Raiders came back to win it with a field goal of their own.
We saw him in warm-up, putting him through pretty good from 52-53, so he's got the leg to do it.
for a first down by Cedric Tillman. He's into Raider territory to the 45-yard line. Tripped up by Darren Butler. We're down to 32 seconds, and the Broncos take a timeout. They'll have one remaining.
Well, this is
9 of 11 for 75 yards. 32 ticks left. They have a timeout. Miller to the sideline. Tillman again. Dances out of bounds. Short of the 35. Stocks the clock at 27 seconds. Tillman with his second consecutive reception.
They're still about 5 yards away from a long field goal.
Ball is at the 39-yard line. They place it down. Second down, 27 seconds. High game. Hand off to Strother. Driven back to the 40-yard line. James Trapp not fooled on the handoff from the shotgun. He made a great play.
Nice job by Trapp in there as a nickel back, playing almost like a linebacker. Just filled right up, saw run the entire way.
Just 10 seconds left. Dillon stops it. It'll be fourth down for Denver.
Well, here comes Elam. It's going to. We're talking 56 or so yards on this one. I mean, Elam was putting him through by about 4 or 5 yards from 52, so he's got the leg.
Well, we've seen the juiced baseball. Are we going to see a juiced football here? It would be 57 yards if Elam is to win it. And it would be a dramatic conclusion to this preseason game between these two old rivals who rarely play in the preseason.
I'm not sure if Jason Elam doesn't have to go to the corked leg here.
57 yards to win it with 4 seconds left. And the clock began ticking.
Keep an eye on the middle of the line for the Los Angeles Raiders. They're a very tall team, and Elam's going to have to kick this ball low to drive it sufficiently to get it this far. The idea is to hit into that offensive line by the defensive line and get those hands up.
Please return the game clock to read 9 seconds. Thank you.
What's a running clock in soccer, isn't it?
Not used to stopping it. 50-plus yards last season. Had a good percentage. This one, though, stretching his limit at 57 yards. Elam never had a chance. It was short and off target.
Well, there's still 4 seconds left here, too, for the Denver Broncos, and you know, they're going to force it to go to overtime. The Raiders, if they had their druthers, might have done it differently.
3 wide receivers set to the bottom of your screen. The Hail Mary upcoming with Billy Joe Hobart throwing it as far as he can. Batted around a couple of times, kind of dangerous, but it falls harmlessly to the turf, and the game will come to an end. So regulation is in the book, and it ends 22 apiece. We'll have the coin flip now.
Fletch, you're playing a lot of ball today.
Heads was called, tails came up. Los Angeles, you have the choice.
You will receive.
Did you hear that little byplay? Hey, Fletch, you're playing a lot of ball tonight. What's the deal?
They had to wake Elway up to get him out for the coin toss. Back to Barcelona for overtime after these messages from your local station. Today's American Bowl game in Barcelona. The preseason getting off to a long start for these two teams who, by virtue of playing in a foreign country, get 5 preseason games, 1 more than normal.
I think this is a real advantage for teams to play in these games. It breaks up their training camp. It lets them spend some non-football time together, kind of builds a little bit of that camaraderie. And, you know, the more games these coaches can play, the better. They get to evaluate the talent, and the guys get to show them something.
Clay Phillips was saying he thought it was really good for his team that players normally don't hang out as much together as they used to, but here they have their wives with them, and they get to know each other as they stay for a week in a foreign country. The kick bounces and is taken on the fly by Charles Jordan. Jordan upended short of the 40-yard line, where the Raiders will take over. Barry Rose with a special teams effort for the Broncos to get Jordan to the turf. And it looks like Billy Joe Hobart will still be at quarterback for the Raiders.
Well, Don Mosbar was giving Simon Fletcher a bit of a hard time at that coin toss about, hey, Fletch, you're still in the game. What's going on? Well, he's still in the game. Fletcher and Kroll will be coming from the outside for the Broncos.
Hobart at quarterback. Many of the quarterbacks we've seen today, good baseball players as well, Hobart being one of them. Maddox and Elway being others. Both Maddox and Elway were pitchers. Hobart outfielder.
Michael Jordan had killed to be able to hit the ball as well as Hobart did in the single-A ball. For the Denver Broncos, I think the Raiders will have their best success throwing short passes.
Hobart facing the starting linebacker core of the Broncos, Cole, Alexander, Wyman, and Fletcher. Completes that pass to the 45. Jamie Williams, the tight end. I think that's his first catch. Williams coming over as an unrestricted free agent from the San Francisco 49ers. Spent the last 5 years in San Francisco. Third and 2. Close to a first down is Derek Gaynor.
And now that the situations are turned around a little bit, the Raiders are going to put a drive together, and they're thinking field goal. They're thinking about getting that thing up.
Well, this sort of game is the norm when the Raiders and Broncos get together. It was a Raider blowout in the wild card playoff game last year, but the 2 regular season games, actually won by the Raiders, were close. In fact, the last game of the regular season, coming down to home field possible for Denver and making the playoffs for Los Angeles, was another overtime game. Randy Jordan turns the corner, caught by the jersey and spun out of bounds by Ray Crockett. Raiders steadily moving the ball downfield with that running game, which has suffered so much in recent years.
Well, the first half, the running game didn't do very much, but with Calvin Jones sparking it in the second half, and now on this particular drive, a few good plays, the running game's looking good. The problem with the Raiders' running game of late is the emphasis has always been on inside running, and it's not now what they do best. What they do best is run outside. And speed like Calvin Jones enables him to do it.
Raiders have gained 139 yards on the ground. Hobart loosening his arm there for this handoff to Jordan. Inside the 40 of the Broncos. Hit hard by Steve Atwater. Hobart doing a little decoy work there as he loosened up his arm and then handed the ball off.
A little fake out. I think his arm.
Jordan hit behind the line and made something out of it to the 35-yard line. He gained 5 yards when it looked like he would be stopped for a loss.
He should have lost 5. That was the case there where the defenders are just a little bit tired. It's late in the game. You've got some veterans in there that condition-wise are getting one out on a short dump to a receiver or a tight end.
Tie game in overtime. The American Bowl from Barcelona. Hobart's pass complete. Doug Thomas. And Thomas out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Excuse me, at the 24-yard line of the Broncos. He went against Ray Crockett.
And Crockett softens up a little bit. When he softens up, Thomas just stops. Good read by the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Raiders took the opening kick of overtime and have not relinquished it. Marching down the field now with a first down at the Denver 24. Nothing there that time for Wes Bender.
Well, this is well within Jager's field goal range. This is almost a drill for Jager.
Second down coming up. Jager awaiting the call.
You love that on the sideline. You know you got 4 or 5 guys standing next to Art going, kick it, kick it, kick it now.
Jaeger had 2 game winners against the Broncos last season. Calvin Jones, short of the 20, hit by Darrell Hall. And Jaeger comes out to try to win the game in overtime. An NFL record, or tying it for the most field goals in a single season. He led the NFL in scoring last year with a Raider record 132 points. And once again, he is trying to beat the Broncos with a field goal.
The most important part of this play starts at the very beginning with that snap to the holder. People forget about that, but late in the game when guys are tired, it's the hardest.
Gossett will hold a 39-yard attempt. Good. Jeff Jaeger, Art Shell, and the Raiders strike again.
Just a nice job of execution by Art Shell and his entire staff and the plays they brought in. Billy Joe Holbert just moved them down the field. Good job of run blocking and running by the running backs. Wasn't real complicated.
Denver drives downfield, scores, elects to go for 1 to tie, but then in overtime, the Raiders take the opening kick, and Jaeger, with a 39-yarder, kicks the winning field goal. Tom Hammond for Randy Cross and John Dockery saying, so long from Barcelona. Stay tuned for the quarterback challenge. You guys did a good job. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
On behalf of the National Football League, I'd like to present to Art Shell, the head coach of the Los Angeles Raiders, the American Bowl trophy, emblematic of winning here in Barcelona. Congratulations, Art.
Que por parte de la NFL, el presidente Neil Austrian quiere presentar el trofeo del American Bowl de la segunda edición al entrenador de los Raiders, Art Shell. Muchas felicidades, Art.
I want to thank all your fans for coming out. You've been wonderful to us. The Raiders really enjoyed your city. It's a beautiful city, and hopefully one day we can come back again. Thanks for your support.
Entrenador Art Shell quiere agradecer a la ciudad de Barcelona y a todos los aficionados su presencia aquí, que les han ofrecido este juego a la afición de Barcelona y que espera jugar otra American Bowl en esta maravillosa ciudad. Muchas gracias.
We'll get it to you. Okay. Thanks.